Chuku kundu zongbo gombo yi Dorji sempa garab dorji dang Shire singe bardu shin labde Dedam absan tata tusum chi Zogchen jupe lama la solo deb Ergin pema junela so deb Dorji chang chitalo narudang Marpa mila gompo tsatsapa Na pupadang palden drupa so Kagulama namla solo dev Ochen lama namla solo dev Druchen lama namla solo deb Kaginwari lama namla solo deb Shakya lama namla solo deb Nyendu dang yundren lama namla solo deb Pakwandu zhangdang yerme pa Gungarab dorjijin tragpa Detidang nisume pai Palamanam che tente chong In the fourth time, beyond the boundaries of the time-space continuum, where all beings of the three realms arise as all Buddhas of the three times, and the moving and the stillness are conjoined, and all concepts of singularity and multiplicity become irrelevant. The real Bodhisattva, Bodhi, thus gone beyond concept. Sita, consciousness, mind, gone beyond. Bodhisattva, gone beyond your little individual stories, grabbing at this or that you want. Gone beyond hope and fear. Hope of getting what you want. Hope of not getting what you fear. Fear of losing what you have. Fear of having what you fear catch you. We live in this, bouncing like a ping pong ball. From desire to aversion and desire to aversion. Take a moment. And have a rest from that, just for a moment. Just to relax. Just briefly. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Mind looking. Use the tricks of body that I've taught you, just to make it easier, of body and speech, of gaze. Let go. Do not try to stop the thinking. Do not pay any attention to the thinking. Leave it be, just as it is, without stirring it, suppressing it, justifying it. Leave it be. Relax. Your point of focus. Let it naturally ease open without forcing and without tension on it. Mind, big mind, semni. Little mind, sem. Little mind sees big mind, recognizes itself, and lets go. Practice needs to be free and non-conceptual, unconstrained by introspection and concentration. You don't do Zogchen. You are, and always have been. Vast, unoriginated, self-luminous wisdom, space. This is the ground of being. Who you are. The beginning and the end of confusion. Do not grab at wisdom and reject your confusion. Embrace the dance of the dichotomy while seeing that nothing happens. The presence of awareness in the primordial state has no bias towards enlightenment or non-enlightenment. This is real Dzogchen here. Like the cuckoo's song, give up the malaise of trying and striving. However, until this sounds easy and of course to you, keep walking. If you abandon striving too soon, nothing happens. If you abandon striving too late, but if you abandon striving in exactly the right moment when you're ripe for this, nothing happens. Dharma. Originally meant to refer to the natural laws of the universe and how to work with them. The user manual that you never received when you became a Homo sapien. How to be human. Didn't you ever as a kid wish you could find the user manual? It's like, how do I do this? I'm supposed to be a human being, right? What are humans supposed to do? How's it work? Where the fuck's the user manual? Cars come with them, why don't I? That may be an autistic way of seeing things. I'm not quite sure if that's normie or not. But Dharma is supposed to be that. Unfortunately, because the word in Sanskrit and Pali also means rules, law, natural law, man-made law. You both call them laws, right? Fortunately, it's the same in Sanskrit. So a confusion has arisen. And instead of describing how the natural laws work, like what's gravity, and why you should not step off high places, because you will go down at a certain speed, which is a good reason not to step off a high place. The push-pull of karma, the web of the interconnectivity of the fourth time. Instead of describing that as it is, people were given rules to follow. It got codified. And yes, all those are excellent rubber buggy bumpers. You know, have you ever gone bowling as a kid to a bowling alley? You know, on the sides of the lanes, there's these raised things that are kind of rubber and soft. So if you're a little kid and you just sort of throw it that way, it doesn't go bouncing all across, hopefully. Keep it in the lane. Rubber buggy bumpers. Well, probably useful if you come to it as crazy as I did. Stop killing people now. It's not good. You'll get yourself in even more trouble. You know, probably needed shit like that when I was, I don't know, 20, 21. Since that was my hobby. Homicidal maniac. You know, teenagers, they go weird. But when you come, and I came to Lam Rim first, which is right where I needed to be, for several years. Lots of very clear rubber buggy bumpers. When you come to Zogchen, which is usually not when you're 21, unless you've been doing it before for a rather long time. Few of you are lucky, and you've encountered it early, but you're probably not going to hang with it entirely, because you got too much energy and you got to go get some entertainments. So you're going to do some add-ins for a while, and that's fine. Dzogchen's for when you get tired of chasing your tail and don't need it for entertainment purposes. Right now, a lot of you use your Dharma as an entertainment purpose. You go do this entertaining retreat and that entertaining yidam, and then you go check out this entertaining lama and that entertaining lama. When you're done with that, relax. Gently let go. Don't shove away. Don't take your hopes and fears and try to throw them as far as you can, or stick them in a box and sit on them. They'll squeak if you do that. You don't want to hear the sound of a hope and fear squeaking. Do you want to hear the sound? I might have a demonstration in here somewhere. Imagine that feeling inside yourself. That really is the squeak of something going through a channel that it's not been through before. As you're relaxing your channels and the chi starts to find new pathways, yeah, that's the sound it sometimes makes. How many of you have experienced that in a retreat? Yeah. It's more an emotion than an actual sound when you hear it that way. When you think you might be ready, and remember, past lives count in becoming ready. And if you don't remember them, well, who the hell knows what you've been doing there? You might have been doing this. There's a really clear sign as to whether you're ready for Zogchen or not. Do you like it? People who aren't ready don't like it. They sort of look at it and go, and then what? Well, what am I supposed to do with this? This is boring. What do you mean, just sit there? Or they're scared shitless of it. They get a glimpse of the vastness, the emptiness, the multiplicity of the vitality and all it creates, the totality of it, and it's so fucking big. Choom! If you haven't had either of those reactions, you're ready. If you have had either of those reactions, practice Tantra for a while and try again. Tantra is not a step down. It's a shortcut. You could go do Lam Rim for, 50 lives. It says 400 lives for Lam Rim, from the beginning to the end. But it's a pretty path. And there's little fountains and springs and waterfalls along the way, and fruit trees. There's nothing wrong with that path just because it takes a long time. It's very pretty. You just have to not forget what you were doing, which is a problem for people like me. I was on my way from Bandhamir, where the statues are, out to the high mountains to see if those wise men had something interesting to say, because I wasn't finding portals in the white spaces. 19, 20-year-old kid, right? Interesting reality. So that was all well and good, but when I got finally to Pakistan and rested up, I got sidetracked by the opium dens, which make you forget a lot of stuff. And then I got to India and I stopped in Panjim, because that's where I got a ride to from the Golden Temple. And I won this sailboat in a craps game. That was my next distraction. I'm going to sail down the coast of the Indian Ocean to the tip of India. It's a single-hander. You know, it doesn't have Loran or any of the stuff you have in a proper ocean-going boat. It's just a little fishing boat. But, you know, coast hopping. It's not as good a sailor as I thought. How, after some weeks, maybe a month, I misjudged a storm coming in, thought I could make it to the next cove. Nope. Broke up in the surf. Was wearing a sarong. You can't friggin' swim in a sarong. Ditched it because it's big surf, you know. It's a big storm and, you know, the waves like this, enough to break the boat in half. So I have to swim in that, so I ditched the sarong. I wash up in the storm, stark naked on a beach somewhere in South India. Okay, then. Then there were some more distractions that happened after that. Like, I needed a hat, so I found some leaves and I plaited a hat, a sun hat, because it gets pretty hot in the daytime. And besides, if I wanted to go inside or be among people, you just take it off your head and hold it here. It'll do. And then I needed money. So I found a clay deposit in the rocks. And I dug the clay and I prepared it properly, wedged it and all, and made beautiful. It wasn't a big deposit, but I got enough clay to make a whole bunch of beautiful beads, sculpted in the shapes of little demon heads and fishes and snails and things. And dug a kiln and fired them. And then I sold them to the tourists and I got some money. And then I could buy another sarong and, get on with things. But you see, I distract easy. Sure, find a crap game just for entertainment, a craps game dice, just for entertainment one night. Next thing I know, I've changed my whole course. I'm not heading for the mountains. I'm headed for the south. In the boat I just won. If you don't distract easy, you can probably keep at it for long rim for enough lives to get somewhere. However, if you distract anywhere near as easily as I do, you're going to go off in some tangent in the 27th life to do something totally different and forget all about practicing and everything you learned. So you might try Tantra. You only have to remember it for one life. It's risky. You have to have a teacher. It's cliff climbing, straight up the cliff. You have to be roped together with the teacher and the other students of your generation. Don't yank the teacher off the cliff if you fall off. That's the rule of Guru Yoga and Tantra. If you fall off the cliff, don't flail. The team will pull you back on. But if you flail, you can yank the rest of them off too, both the other students and the teacher. I've seen it happen, metaphorically. So unless you think you can trust yourself, be careful of Tantra. Cliff climbing is dicey. Anybody here do any rock climbing as a hobby ever? I used to be pretty good at it when I was young. It was my favorite sport, was climbing up things. I didn't do it with ropes much because I'm stupid. I just went up. Be careful with Tantra. It's worth it. You can go all the way in a single life. But do it carefully. Do you understand that? Are there any questions on what I mean by Tantra you have to be careful with? It's not easy or safe.
Actually, I don't understand.
Okay. Which part?
That it's dangerous?
Extremely. Whoever told you Dharma was safe?
Okay, Dharma, yes.
So Lam Rim is pretty safe. You're not going to mess yourself up with it.
Yeah.
Tantra is quite dangerous.
Why?
Because you will have strong mental and physical sensations while practicing it, some of which it is easy to misinterpret. Okay. And by misinterpreting them, you can, it's the misinterpretation that is falling off the cliff. If you flail in your misinterpretation, try to get everybody to agree with it, you're going to yank all your co-students off the cliff, and probably the teacher as well. Let's say you have a whole bunch of experiences, sensations, and you interpret it as the teacher is possessed by a demon. You've seen it, hovering over their head. It's not unusual to get into some weird twist like this in Tantra.
Yeah.
Because of the intensity of the practices and the intensity of the purification. So stuff comes out. And if you've got weird stuff stuck in there, I don't know about you, but I've got a lot of weird stuff stuck. Well, it's not stuck now. It just floats around. But it didn't become less weird. You got any?
I'm sorry, I was just...
Do you have any weird stuff in there, in you?
Sure.
Well, yeah,
So
and that
much.
comes out with Tantra.
Yes.
Like you're doing Vajrasattva, purification practice,
Oh, yes.
and all those creepy crawlies come out and run around, and you got to look at them.
Yes.
Sometimes you freak out. In Yidam practice, it's even stronger than Nundro. You hopefully have gotten through your basic freakouts with Nundro, so that when they start happening again with Yidam practice in a 3-year retreat, where you're all by yourself for 3 years, you're like, oh yeah, it's that crap again. Instead of falling for it, coming out of retreat and yelling, help, help, there's demons in my cabin. Or whatever story you make up. What might not be demons, you might make up something quite different.
Yeah, yeah. But doesn't the same happen when you practice Dzogchen?
Yep.
Okay.
Did I say Zogchen was safer than Tantra?
Not.
Problem in Zogchen is you don't knock your teacher off, you become a demon. Rahula, the whole story of Rahula, Dzogchen accident. Rahula, the Buddha's son. Also a symbol of Dzogchen accident. Rahula and his friend had a teacher who taught them what I taught you last night. The spontaneous acceptance of whatever occurred both inside and outside. However, they took it both ways. Rahula's friend took it as simply observing the spontaneous occurrence of whatever happened inside in relation to whatever happened outside without steering. Rahula took it as following whatever happened inside, bringing it into the outside spontaneously, and seeing what that did. So the difference was subtle, but down the road, the friend, whose name I keep forgetting, but it's in the texts, is sort of sitting there watching it all go by beside the road. And Rahula has gotten a gang together, and they've kidnapped a bunch of women and young men, and they've started all these whorehouses. They've gotten really rich. They're getting into gang warfare. He's having a wonderful time acting out of all his impulses spontaneously. So they're both having fun. One's just like, what's coming next? You ever see the Dalai Lama do that? Oh, oh, look at my channel pattern when I mimic his. That's what he does when he's not like in public, with any stimulus. Anyway, so the two friends got together again, and they were both aghast at how each other had done it. Thinking they were both, each one thought the other one had done it wrong, had misunderstood the teacher. So they went off to find the teacher together. And they asked the teacher who was right and who was wrong. And they'd both put like 20 years of extreme effort into this, to working on that. So the teacher said that Rahula's friend was right and Rahula was wrong. Rahula was so upset about the wasted effort and how much he'd put into this, thinking he was following instructions, that he killed both of them. And so he was reborn, Rahula was reborn as a demon a number of times. Because you see, by doing it wrong, he'd gotten power without wisdom. The intensity of his practice had created a lot of power, Power has to go somewhere once you've accumulated it. That's a Zogchen mistake.
Easy to make a mistake.
Yes. That's why in the old days it was kept secret from the side of the teachers, saying that society wasn't ready. But there's no time left now. You got to give it to everybody and scatterguard and figure that ones who aren't ready will wander off into other entertainments, because there's no time left to pick and choose. Kali Yuga. There really isn't a lot of time left. Look at the way the world's going. Perhaps we shall all become cockroaches. It's not a bad life. They like to be hugged. Now, really, if you have a pet cockroach and you sort of pet it and hug it, it makes them really happy. They'll be still for you to do that. New Yorker, what do you want? Other questions at this point? Mike? No, don't give the mic back to her. You only got one?
Yeah.
One for the audience, one for you.
Okay, so keep that around the audience and pass it.
I'm wondering, I'm now in a stage of my practice that I really, really like it. Is that also a big distraction?
No,
Okay.
that's a really good sign.
Oh, okay.
That means you really, really will do it.
Yes.
If you do it, it works.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, okay.
No, don't worry about that. You're starting to, that's an old pattern.
Okay.
That's, am I doing it right? Most common question I get asked as a teacher, am I doing it right? Second most common, are we there yet?
Yeah, okay.
No, you are doing it right. If you really like your practice, great. That's the best sign. Whatever your practice currently is, your liking of it means it's working.
Okay.
Means you're going in the right direction.
Okay.
Make sure that you don't deviate from your teacher's instructions, not in how to live, in how to practice.
Okay.
Sometimes, you get a tantric practice where she rides a goose, and then somebody decides it must be a swan because they have a thing for swans. No, the swan is a completely different symbol than goose. We don't have guard swans. We have watch geese. They're vicious. Swans can be vicious, but they don't attack in clumps. They attack one by one, and geese will go for you all together. So the symbolism is real different. Stick to what was in the sadhana. If it's a 9-headed sow, don't make it a 9-headed boar. I'm just thinking of a couple of sadhanas that have gone by. Any other questions out there? Pass the mic to them.
Oh, hi, Lama Lena. How do you differentiate between mental health issues and the issues that one come across with the practice? And how should we deal with these difficulties that come with the practice?
Pay them no, never mind. They're called nyams. They're come and go experiences. The Japanese call them come and goes in Zen. and you just pay them no never mind, or there are methods of popping one if it gets stuck. Different for Mahamudra and Mahaati. Mental health problems is stuff you had before you started practicing, I guess. How are you defining a mental health problem?
I have issues with lung, so it kind of mix.
So, lung can be controlled through diet. Don't be vegan, first of all. And also in practice, lung is caused by holding your, well, depending on Tantra or Dzogchen. In Dzogchen, it's caused by holding your orifice of attention too tightly, by staring too intently, by forcing things. In Tantra, it's caused by holding your visualization too concretely. Again, by forcing things. Some people are prone to holding their channels tightly. What we mean by lung is just the squeak of the chi moving through the channels. We call it lung as a sensation. Usually it means the chi is moving too fast in an upward direction. So a couple of practices you don't do, such as holding your guru on top of your head. You always hold them down here in your heart or solar plexus. If you do a lot of Tantra with the visualization up here, you make sure that you do the higher Tantras, Yoga Tantra and above, where you become the visualization rather than keeping it up here. Because if it's up here, your lung's going to go towards it. Your chi's going to go towards it. So there's a lot of different things you can do for a tendency to lung. You don't have to, you can be a vegetarian, you just can't be vegan. You need greasy cheese. Greasy
I was told
food.
not to practice POA, example.
You can practice POA, but in a proper retreat, guided by someone who knows what they're doing and can keep an eye on you. In POA, you're supposed to have lung. But they'll also tell you how to put it back the way it's supposed to be when you leave, but you'll know how to make that happen when you want to. POA as a daily practice probably would not be recommended for you. Probably something else, a nice grounding yidam. Who's a good grounding yidam? Any of the seated ones? Dorit, which yidam would be nice and grounding, do you think, of all of them? You think Purba's most ground? Yeah. You could do Purba. That's pretty grounding. I think Green Tara is pretty grounding, too.
Thank you.
The way she's seated, even though she's ready to get up, she's not doing stuff right now. She's like, who else? Manjushri will make it go upwards. Things like that. We all are here because of mental health issues. Honestly, yes. If you didn't feel crazy, you wouldn't be in here trying to fix it. Right? If you didn't think there was something malfunctioning about your mind, you wouldn't have come to a method for fixing the malfunction. You would have been completely satisfied with how you were. So if you're here, it's probably because some of your quirks bother you, and you thought maybe Dharma would fix it. Well, in a way they do. It stops bothering you. It's not like your quirks go away. It's the bothered by them that goes away. Other questions?
I have one follow-up question.
Yes.
It's regarding refuge, specifically about the secret refuge, which is the refuge in the channels, the chi and the life force drops.
Mm-hmm.
Especially this mix between the lung problems and this refuge. How does that correlate with the channels? And
You see, in the secret refuge, the channels are infinite, infinitely wide, infinitely open. So there's no irritation as the chi moves through them. Talung tigli. The chi is simply the life force of Bodhisattva, Buddha consciousness, Buddha mind. The inevitable life force of that, which moves through the channels with ease. And the tigli is simply the creativity of that, creating the multiplicity of form, none of which has its own inherent reality. So it really hasn't got anything to do with the lung illness. However, if you hold your channels small, stiffly and tightly, the chi, which is very powerful, will irritate the walls of them, squeaks. Because remember, with this balloon, what I did was make the channels small. Not squeak, because I'm not, just a little towards the end, because I wasn't constricting it. Constriction, you see how I'm squeezing it? The squeak is what you call chi, the sense, or lung, what you call the sensation of lung. It's because you're constricting your channels. Practice unconstricting your channels to resolve the issue on a very basic level. Now, there are medications that will help you with that in Tibetan medicine. You can access them, you can order them online from Dharamsala. It's good to see a practitioner before you choose. People don't, because the knowledge is much deeper than just what it says in the blurb. This is good for your stomach. This is good for lung. So check in with a practitioner of Tibetan medicine. We have among the Sangha. Just put it out that you're looking for one. Somebody will tell you who it is. And that could also help. What are your main practices? Tantra, Zogchen?
I'm
Karen?
into Zogchen.
You're into
Yeah,
Zogchen.
and I can't practice Tantra in a sort of regular way because of issues in the past. So it's Red Tara and sharing it that you told me to do.
Okay. How are you at Vajrasattva?
I'm new to it.
You might
slowly.
consider giving it a try as you have issues in the past. And Vajrasattva is very good for allowing those to be flushed. So it's like, if you don't ever flush your toilet, what's going to happen? You got to flush occasionally. The tradition is you do Vajrasattva. Most Tibetans will do a few Vajrasattva mantra with visualization every night. The way you'll take a shower in the evening to get the day off you. Especially if you were working, you got sweaty, this and this. A lot of people like an evening shower. It's not a deep shower. You don't usually wash your hair before sleep. But it's just, get the fucking day off me. I sweated. Vajrasattva is really good in the evening for that. But you have to do a bit more of it than just a bit in the evening. If you've got something, like a past issue on something. Those are a bugger to get out. Other questions? Would you pass her the microphone?
My question was, I was diagnosed with autism last year. And going through menopause, I'm experiencing lots of sensory issues.
Oh, yeah.
Do you, initially I thought it meant I didn't have my precious human rebirth, but then I discovered you, and I thought this isn't true.
No, it isn't true. You're not too crazy to practice Dharma.
But
You're just too crazy to live in Midtown. Get an apartment outside of the middle of town. It's too fucking noisy.
So that's your advice to a younger autistic.
Yeah. You got to know what sets you off, right? You know what sets you off. So, it's a couple of things you can do with that. You can either push it or pull it. That is, you can avoid what sets you off most of the time because you will not be functional if you push it. But once in a while, take yourself into full frizz by pushing it. Because generally, if you run from something, they chase you. So you got to chase it once in a while so it'll back off. Otherwise, your life gets really tight with the things you can't do. Last time I chased a full frizz was Mardi Gras. Party every day, party every night, constantly social. In costumes, weird costumes, everything. Managed about a week of it. And then I started smelling like burning insulation. I could smell it. Everybody could smell it. Didn't matter how many showers I had. I smelled like burning insulation for 10 days. And of course, I just closed the doors like, right. If I push this further, I'm going to burst into flame. Leave it alone. That was an interesting experience. Feel free to try it under safe circumstances. Mardi Gras in New Orleans is a very safe circumstance because everybody's nuts and drunk and stoned and on mushrooms and had acid and in costume, wearing masks. So, like, there's no way you're going to embarrass yourself no matter what you do. So it's a very safe time to push it. I suspect you have festivals here in Amsterdam that are like that. Other questions?
Thank you.
So, the story about Rahula and his friend, I think the whole, you watch things, you observe what happens, what you experience, thoughts, feelings, emotions, it all passes and moves and shifts and changes. And you find a middle way between reactivity and passivity, because passivity is the other extreme.
It's called responsiveness, that middle way,
Yeah.
just in case you want a name for it.
So, what guides the responsiveness where you move into action and where you rest back into passivity?
Certainly not anything I could tell you, because what I am telling you is words, which are by nature thoughts, and you mustn't let thoughts guide that, or you will definitely have an oops.
And would that be the way then to more distinguish between what is more like an ego pattern, because it's based on thoughts and stories?
You are 20 degrees off. Close, but not the banana. It only happens when you relax into a state of open awareness while thinking. Then this can occur from its own side. You're still trying to figure out how to get it to occur. That won't work. Practice relaxing into that state of open awareness while thinking. Without a cat by a mouse hole waiting to pounce on the flow if it happens, because the moment you grab it, you're going to squish it. Just relax and sit there in open awareness, without suppressing your thinking, but without following it into complex stories of who, for, and why is this. For many, it helps to use the body positions, the eye gaze, and the special breathings, and the way you hold your mouth. All of these little physical tricks, they are not necessary. They simply make it easier. But there is no reason why you would not make it easier for yourself in a given moment. So use what seems to be appropriate there. You know, if you can't sit down cross-legged, then do the Maitreya position. If there's no suitable chairs, then, well, you're going to do it in a different position. Does that answer your question?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you can't get at this by thinking at it. The instructions are too simple, guys. That's what's bothering everyone. It's like sit, do whatever alignments you find help you, having tried them enough that you know what works for you and what is unnecessary for you. Relax the sphincter of your attention, which is usually in point focus. You look at this or that or that. Sorry, this is the long distance side. That's close up. I can't see anything through it, just the text. So you look there and you look there. This is the way you normally keep your orifice of attention, like a little tube. You pay attention to this or that or this. That's the key that you have to open. That's the orifice that you're holding stiffly, causing lung. So you have to work on relaxing the orifice. Just like when you do the gaze, you relax the muscles of the lens that give the lens focus, like close-up focus, distance focus. It's the same kind of relaxation. It's not a muscle you're used to using much intentionally. So just relax the orifice of your attention. And don't bother the thinking, neither suppressing it nor following it. Don't poke at it, just let it do what it's going to do. Don't give it your attention, not more attention than anything else. See, when you put your attention on what you're thinking, you go to a point focus on your thoughts. This is what you don't want to do. Your thoughts have some of your attention, but they only have a small percentage of this. You know, yes, I can see you and you and you. And you, because my gaze is open. I can see the whole range here from about here to about here. Yeah. Equally clearly. So no one of you have my full attention. And yet everyone has attention. When you speak, I'll narrow it down to try to figure out what you are trying to say. But make a habit of keeping it open like that. If you can do Sudoku with it open like that, you're getting it. There's your test. So if you're trying to do that, you'll first flick back and forth, open, pointed, open, pointed. After a while, your flicker gets tired, and you will accidentally find the setting in your mind of thinking while your attention is open to all phenomena. It's a setting, a way of holding yourself, only it's really relaxed. It's a way of relaxing yourself. And I can't describe it to you. I can only tell you which practices will lead towards that experience. And the best one is to just relax into the open awareness without doing anything whatsoever to the thoughts. And doing this often, but not fighting to maintain it. When you're on the cushion, it's easy to drift into this, and it may maintain itself for a long time. But when you are active, such as at dinner or out and about doing things, it is very difficult to maintain it. Rather, what you're going to do is flick back and forth until the flickers merge. Don't try to get them to do that. Make no attempt to get them to do that. I shouldn't have even told you that they do that. Because now you're going to try to do that and you can't. Flick your attention open. Get so good on the seat at opening your attention that you can do it super fast. Super easy. And then as you go about in life, flick it open. Relax, let go, leave it be, leave it what it is. When something catches your attention, allow it to do so. Go along with that a bit and then flick it open again. Like when you come to crossing the street or a bicycle lane, well, yeah, you're going to stop for a minute and bring your attention into point focus. And if it's a bike lane, you point focus on bicycles. What's coming this way? That's okay to do. Please don't try to cross the street with open awareness unless you're really, really, really good at it. Other questions? Somebody pass him a mic.
My question is, you kind of touched a little bit about it, but could you teach kids this? And is it a good idea to...
Yes, you don't teach them this in the usual way, though.
Yeah, sure.
If you will go to the center of Lama Candice O'Denver, you will find a number of Zogchen teaching picture books for children that are excellent, that can be ordered online. They're for the little ones, like 2, 3, 4, and 5.
More about 9, 10, 11?
See what she's got. I'm mostly familiar with what she did for toddlers, but that toddler should be older now, so maybe. That toddler should be getting on for 8, 9. that she was writing, the people there were writing the books for. So quite possibly there's more. Go check it out. Tell her I sent you. She's a very close friend and a fellow student of Wangdo Rinpoche, my teacher.
I met her with you in Tsopema.
Yeah, she has a very different teaching style than I have, because our personalities are vastly different. She was raised as an aristocrat in the Raj. You know, aristocrat living on an island somewhere with servants, and, you know, that's her background. Very aristocratic. And I'm a street kid from New York. You know, grew up on the streets of Hell's Kitchen. So we have very different ways of presentation. Don't try to mimic the finger. Look where it's pointing. Trungpa Rinpoche. Kargyu line, Mahamudra, rather than Mahaati. But same stuff. Used to drink like a fish, fuck like a rabbit, and get into weird jams like nine-fingered top gel. So, all his students began drinking like fishes. Oh, and he was a real fancy dresser, so he really liked his clothes. So all his students wore suits and ties, drank like fishes, and fucked like rabbits. Except for he had this one student who happened to be a nun. So she couldn't do any of those things. She couldn't be distracted by the personality. All she could do was look where he's pointing. That was Pema Chodron. You may have read some of her books. She's good. Let that be a lesson to you. It's not my personality. My personality is irrelevant. Lama Candace's personality is irrelevant. All her students try to be refined like her, and it's like, yeah, my students get funky like me, and it's like, you be who you are. Whatever you are, that's it. That's fine. Ever see a Lama without a personality? Anybody? Ever see two Lamas with the same personality, not counting if they did that thing that Lama Zopa and Lama Yeshe did, which you're not supposed to do, but people do anyway? So guess what, guys? No matter how far you go, you get to keep your personality. And it may still bother other people. The thing is, it's going to stop bothering you. I bother lots of people. I get emails from them, too. Especially after an intense retreat. I quite enjoy those, actually. You always need a good laugh. Next question. We got one back there. Pass it back.
Yesterday you asked, I'm understandable, it's working now?
Yes.
Yesterday you said you can go outside and accept everything what's coming. And I did. And I had a very good evening till I started to sleep because there was one mosquito. And so I stopped with accepting everything. I hate a mosquito. But if you can say something good about it.
There's always something bigger than your practice.
It's very small.
But nonetheless, it's like, okay, bite me, just don't talk about it. Don't talk about it all night, just go ahead and have a sip and go away. So for you, what you happened to meet in that moment that was bigger than your practice was a mosquito.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
What you met in that moment that was bigger than your practice, as more intense than your practice was able to practice through, was a mosquito. cool, there's a lot worse shit you could run into to find out that there's always something bigger than your practice. Told you the story about the guy, the Lama captured by the Chinese, who discovered that that was bigger than his practice. That was hard for him. I hope he's all right now. Other questions?
So earlier you said that it's a bit more difficult for teenagers to catch Dzogchen because of their energy. So this means that when you become older, it should become a little bit more automatic to learn how to let go. Or it's just a simple example. I have a grandma who will be 100 next week, and I see that her approach to the life, it's very different compared to my approach or the approach of my cousins, for example, or even my mom.
That's true, and that's why we traditionally give different kinds of practices to different age groups. That's in the tradition. For instance, you always give teenagers a nundro, or 2 or 3. It tires them out. There's too much energy running around there. They need to do something with it, and nundro has a lot of doing. People in their 20s before they have kids, it's usually yidam practice very strongly. Once they have a family, that yidam practice can carry on. They've already done it intensely in retreat. They've got it strong enough it can carry through the distractions of raising a family and having your parents get old. Can even carry through menopause, which, depending on which teacher you listen to, is either a hindrance or an opportunity for doing salung practice. Once you fully pass that and you're into the older age, it is much easier to have the perspective. However, you can get the perspective younger through certain practices. Certain tantras, different things that we do that are tools, nundros, Zogchen nundros, like all the rushens, like working with thoughts, working with feelings, working with perceptions, this set of retreats, these are rushens. Rushen actually means separating. But because it's kept silence, you separate it to see what it is, and then you put it back together again. So most Zogchen rushens include yoga of dancing stillness somewhere in them. You separate it, and then at some point, the next piece, there's always a next piece, is where you allow it to come back together again naturally. That makes sense to anybody? If you've done some of the rushens, it probably does. Rushens are just methods. They're not real full Zogchen, which is this, which is what was requested this weekend, full-on straight Zogchen. They are methods to ripen you so that you can do this, if by chance when you first encounter this you don't quite get it. Then you go do that and try again. And then you go do this other one and try again. Questions on how that works?
Will you take also questions from online?
I will, if they're good ones.
There are a few that relate to the daily practice and especially the jobs. For example, can you speak about how to bring the practice of radical acceptance and not poking when it comes to a daily job that one absolutely is not interested to doing but has to do. And there are few like this in relation to the jobs one doesn't want to do.
Why would you do a job that you found nothing interesting about doing? Switch jobs. I mean, I've always been able to find something interesting about most everything I've done. Security guard, sure. You know, that's such an easy job to get when you have nothing. Yeah, because, you know, no matter what society is doing, somebody's always scared and wants to hire security. So, easy job to get. Prop up a wall in a factory. What's good about it? Bring a book. I can't imagine a job that didn't have some interesting aspect, although most of them get old after a while. Pickle factory? Yeah, that was interesting. It was my first time in Europe, my first time out of the States. 19-year-old kid. Yeah, I'll get a job in a pickle factory in Amsterdam and live on what they throw away from the farmer's market and in somebody's attic. Or on a houseboat or whatever you can get with a bunch of kids. Fascinating. Never seen a pickle factory before. Steal pickles. They don't care. It goes well with the cheese rind you found. Security at the airport? Sure. Interesting what people bring through in their suitcases. Fascinating. And occasionally you have to disarm somebody. I used to have a trick to it. I dyed my hair bright green. I looked like a very straight cop, you know, with a cap on. And if somebody started to get obstreperous, I'd take my hat off, at which point these curls of bright green would cascade down and they'd go. Because this is way back. Nobody'd ever seen a green-haired cop. This was before people did a lot of colors in their hair. And then you can just take all the weapons off them while they go. So I found something interesting about that job. Corporate, sure. Normally it's boring, but you can make it interesting. The actual work isn't that interesting, but the interpersonal shit you can pull off and, you know, the mergers with other companies and the weird way it goes. You can do flowcharts on that. That's the hardest one that I found to make interesting, but I managed for a couple of years and then got a golden parachute. After 3 mergers in 2 years. What came after that? Swamp ranger, paramedic, Chinese medical doctor, EKG tech in a hospital. I've had a lot of weird jobs. And this isn't even mentioning the weird ones I did while traveling. Some of which were quite porn film worker. That was Iran. Journalist, that was Iran. Errands for the company, that was Iran. I was chasing money in Iran because that was after the first time in Afghanistan. And then, you know, I ended up across the border with zilch. So I'm not sure I get why you haven't found something interesting in your job to amuse you with. Maybe you want to switch jobs. Or maybe you just want to look deeper. Maybe because the job is really boring, it's a great place to relax your orifice of attention and practice Zogchen. And that's the interesting thing. You get a security post where all you do is, you know, ding a thing that you're still alive 3 times a night and, you know, walk around a factory that's closed. Cool. Nobody's bugging you. In those days, I would read science fiction, but now I would probably just sit there and watch nothing happen. Unless maybe it did. That could be interesting. I've actually had posts like that, you know, really boring stakeouts and things. Oh yeah, private detective, that's right. That didn't last very long. So, really, I don't understand why you can't find something interesting about your job, or if you really can't, pick another one. Even in this economy, where jobs may be harder to find, there's always something. Hell, out in the Himalayas, a baker. I made bagels and cream cheese. I walked through the forest with a stick of, I built the oven out of mud and tin. Walked through the forest with a stick of bagels and a pot of cream cheese going, bagely, 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 and earned a living. You're going to find something to do everywhere. Oh yeah, forgeries. What country? Switzerland. That's okay. Statute of limitations. That's long ago.
Okay, two more relevant because there are many.
Yes.
So one is, yesterday you talked about Dzogchen, and that's older than Buddhism. I was
Yes.
curious, so searched online, but didn't find much information. Can you
Check out
please-
Bon lineage.
That was quick. And the last one, when resting in the nature of mind, there is often a subtle sense of someone still doing the resting.
Mm-hmm.
How can we truly let go of the meditator so that practice
Just keep
becomes
resting until it wears off. It's called practice. Don't fight it. The moment you try to get rid of it, it's going to try to stick. You ever do Tai Chi push hands? Like that. So don't push on that subtle self to make it go away. Try to get a look at it, what it is. See if you can see it, but don't shove. Don't try to get rid of it. Relax and leave it be. Look right at it at times. Oh yeah, what are you? With that open curiosity that you look at everything, like the Dalai Lama's channel pattern. Other questions out
I
there?
have many more.
I'm going back to the text for a little while. I want to say this about jobs that you don't like. The only thing keeping you there is fear. The more Zogchen you practice, the less your fear will bother you. When your fear doesn't bother you, you can do anything you want. Because it doesn't matter if you're afraid or not. That doesn't mean to abandon common sense. Just because you're not afraid of the bicycle lane anymore doesn't mean you should loiter in the bicycle lane. Okay? This ground of being, which is known as pure or original mind or big mind or semni, is the source from which all phenomena arise. This mind is the union of the three jewels. This mind is Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya as a singular, not multiple. We only divide them up to get a good look at them from different angles. They don't really divide. We just pretend they do. It's the same thing. infinite, open, empty, alive, manifesting phenomena. See that? I'm describing a singularity. I'm describing semni. Big mind, your mind, the mind. That isn't divided into parts. And yet all parts arise within it. It is known as the Great Mother, as the womb of potentiality in which all things arise and dissolve in natural self-perfectedness and absolute spontaneity. It is known as the Great Mother Ocean of Dharmakaya, we sometimes say. The womb of potentiality. This mind in which all perceptions, which is what there is. We say all things, but the things are not separate from the perception of the things for the perceiver. All perceptions arise and dissolve in natural self-perfectedness. That doesn't mean perfect as you think of perfect. Everybody thinks to be perfect it has to be smooth, not bumpy, and not give you splinters. If you stroke the wood and it gives you a splinter, it wasn't perfect. Do you see that belief system? May I point out that that's a belief system. Perfect does not mean smooth. In this case, it means absolutely fits the pattern of the fourth time Indra's web. Fits exactly into the slot for it. It is a perfect fit. It's also absolutely spontaneous. You don't need to learn how to be spontaneous. See, you think you are a somebody or other who is striving to be spontaneous. But in reality, in the infinite emptiness, the vitality, the clear light vitality sparkles as all the arisings in their absolute perfection. And those arisings are spontaneous. And it's only the illusion you suffer from that makes you feel like a lump in that has to decide what to do. That's not real. That's a belief system. You don't have to strive for spontaneity. Let's go back to thoughts. How do you make yourself think? They happen, right? You don't choose them. You might choose a topic. I think I'll think about pizza. If that wasn't what it wanted to think about, it's going to stray off that and go on to teapots or something else. Or Zogchen, or the sex fantasy, or, whatever the hell is happening to spontaneously arise there. When you come to realize, by your own experience, these have to be experiential realizations. They can't be from somebody told you. You got to experience it often enough to be sure. When you realize from your own experience that every one of your thoughts, you didn't put them there. They arise spontaneously according to the pattern of your channel pattern. They are caused by the chi moving through your channels. The thoughts ride the chi. The feelings ride the thoughts, and perceptions is just a clump of all of that. They are arising spontaneously. They totally lack substance and duration, and they vanish spontaneously. And there is nothing you have to do to make them do that. When you come to believe this by your own experience, what could bother you in your thoughts? All aspects of phenomena are completely clear and lucid. They never were opaque or dead. Lucid refers to that ability to see, think, feel. Luminous lucidity. Clear means transparent. The whole universe is open and unobstructed. There is no other way it can be. If you can't even set a glass of water down on a thought, how could it be in your way? It's utterly insubstantial, doesn't have any duration, it's gone the moment you think it. What the fuck is there to be bothered by? And yet your thoughts are what bother you. Your belief systems. Your ego is simply a belief system. You think you are this or that. Let go, relax. Open awareness. Dancing with shape, color, form, feeling, in which there's no thing there, just the sparkle of colored lights. That was an analogy. Everything is mutually interpenetrating, interconnected, interwoven. You are not an individual. If you look inside, you're a biome. Some of the decisions may be made in your brain, but some of the decisions are made by the other occupants of your gut. Read the latest science on that. Half of what you do is what your critters want. So, if a poor man has a yeast overgrowth causing sugar craving, and he steals a donut, who gets the karma of the theft, him or the yeast? Who suffers as a predator next life for stealing, him or his yeasties? You see, you aren't. That mind stream that they tell you in Lam Rim is you, it's not real. It really isn't. You don't store your karma just in your channel patterns. It's stored in everybody else's channel patterns as well. Interactive, interpenetrating. And each little nexus of Indra's web's lines through the fourth dimension, each little lump of where the lines all cross, of the interweb interpenetrating across time, each one of those thinks it's you, a you. And yet they are totally impermanent, slipping and sliding, changing constantly. We call it a mind stream, but it's constantly separating and joining other mind streams and coming back together again, changed by the other mind streams, and in and out and all over the place. There's nothing to maintain, nothing to protect. Relax. Seeing all things as naked, clear, and free from obstructions, there is nothing to attain or realize. It's always been like that. Just relax about it all. The nature of phenomena appears naturally and is naturally present in time transcending awareness. Everything is naturally perfect just as it is. Doesn't mean smooth. Doesn't mean what you think would be perfect. What would be a perfect world for you? I would hate it. And man, none of you want to come into my perfect world. It's weird. All of our different ideas of what we like and want and what would be perfect, they're just thoughts. Let them go. Everything is naturally perfect for what it is, just as it is. All phenomena appear in their uniqueness as part of a continually changing pattern. He's looking at it from the fourth time. These patterns are vibrant with meaning and significance at every moment. And yet there is no significance to attach to such meanings beyond the moment in which they present themselves. This is important. Nothing to take home. Each moment, unique as it is, you can't keep it, don't try. You get a bliss state, don't grab it. You get clarity, don't grab it. You can't keep anything. First, because there is no one to keep it. Second, because there's no thing to keep. So the profundity and the totality and perfection of each moment is just as it is, and you can't keep any of it, so stop trying to keep something and make it hold still and stand on it. That's why they're called sky dancers, the dakas and dakinis. All phenomena appear in their uniqueness as part of a continually changing pattern. These patterns are vibrant with meaning and significance at every moment. Yet there is no significance to attach to such meanings beyond the moment in which they present themselves. This is the dance of the 5 elements, in which matter is a symbol of energy, and energy is a symbol of emptiness. We ourselves are symbols of our own enlightenment. Mind looking. Let it be as it is. Stop trying to get it to be the way you want it to be, or the way you fear it might be, hope it will be. Let the natterer natter on. Do you know the word natter? Somebody say it in Dutch. Kletsen. Somebody say it in German. Louder. Schnattern. Let that just natter on as it will. Don't be invested in what it says. Don't be invested in who you are in this moment. You will be someone else in the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. Resistance is futile. Impermanence is constant. It's not that stuff is impermanent slowly. It's that you are impermanent quickly. As in moment to moment. I believe the teaching up north has to do with the Bardo. It's Bardo teaching. This is brought to a head in the Bardo of becoming, where because you have no real body, just a dream body, with nothing holding your channel pattern still, boy, does it change fast. Entire personalities, species, everything changes several times in the weeks you're in the Bardo of becoming. Just an extreme state of right here. Can you feel yourself changing over the course of years? Gaining abilities, losing abilities? Who changes? While you sit there in whatever way makes it easy for yourself, looking through the thoughts at the infinite open awareness of ground of mind, see if you can find the looker. Subject, object, with a verb in the middle. Or in some languages, a verb at the end. Don't separate them. The shape of the looker is created by what it looks at. Do not attempt to hold anything still. Let it move. This is the free flow. It will move. Your resistance to the movement is futile. Relax. Are there questions? Somebody pass some mics. Do not put your hands down before you receive the mic.
I have a question about not hanging on to things. In my practice, when I do bodhicitta or other things, then I sometimes pray to teachers to become the quality, to gain the quality they have. So you're one of the teachers, so as I say, I want to have bodhicitta like Lama Lena, outrageousness, mind opening. So I use all the things in my mind that I think to know about you for my practice. Is that clutching on, or is that it helps me? You know, if I want to have bodhicitta, I want to.
You do better to simply look at the real bodhicitta frequently, rather than try to figure out how mine works.
I don't want to figure it out. What you representing a way of bodhicitta for me. Guru Rinpoche is representing a way of bodhicitta to me. The 16th Karmapa is representing a way of bodhicitta to me. All kinds of teachers representing that. So, and in that I see the richness of this bodhicitta, the endless richness. So I like to touch that via with the way I think about you, the way I think about the 16th Karmapa, the way about Guru Rinpoche.
That will work.
Okay.
For now.
Okay.
For now.
Okay.
After you, it's the one behind you.
Okay. Yeah, earlier you said something about being ready for Dzogchen. And like I practiced Dzogchen for a couple of years, and then I enjoyed it very much, and then at some point I got a very scary experience. And now I'm kind of like, how to say, I'm not enjoying it as much. Would you say
what was your scary experience, if you wish to share it?
Well, it was actually in together with someone that I fell in love with, and I had a very intense experience of this great openness and like limitlessness, and I felt like I got hurt by that person, and I'm kind of scared for the experience.
Okay, first of all, that experience was not Zogchen, that experience was romance.
Mm-hmm.
The openness you felt was not fully open because it was aimed at an individual. You weren't feeling a wide openness to everything. You were feeling openness to a individual you were in love with.
Mm-hmm.
The openness of romance is not the same openness as bodhicitta and Dzogchen. It is unfortunate that you associated the two.
Yeah, because for me it felt very similar. Because in
it's not
meditation experience, it's like at least what I experienced then, which was not related to this person at all. And then later on having a kind of similar experience with this person, I felt it was very similar.
Vajrasattva retreat.
Okay.
You might wash out the connection you made between the two experiences because that connection was not really there. You made it up.
Yeah.
This is a problem I've seen with a number of women, both in real life and in my email, is they mix sexual escapades with practice. So they fall in love with some guy, And then half the time, because they like it so much, they decide he's their guru. I've watched it happen. Or, I don't know, it just, they make a weird sticky thing. I watch this mostly with women. I don't see this much with the guys. But even between each other, when they're gay, I don't see this sticky thing much. Tunnel vision to a lover can feel really open, but it isn't, because it's only them. Sure, being in love, you're happy and everybody around you must be wonderful and blah, blah, blah. That's a nyam. Mm-hmm. That's nothing to do with Zogchen. That's just a nyam. Don't confuse a trick with a keeper. Don't confuse a lover with a teacher. Not the same thing. Now, there is such a thing as tantric practice. Someone who is not doing it with you will usually teach you and someone else it and stick you together. But it's not usually you find someone and they say they're a tantric master and they teach you. That can get a little funny. It sometimes works if it's a guy finding an older woman who actually is a tantric master. I've seen that work out to some extent. Worked great for her anyway. He always, for the rest of his life, tried to find that again. But he's not young and pretty anymore. And he's always chasing the female lamas and things because of what he had with a female lama. He went for the person instead of the teaching. Y'all go read Mandareva's autobiography, especially her relationship with Guru Rinpoche. Completely different from Yeshe Sogyal. Yeshe Sogyal married him. Mandareva was a tantric consort. When he went to live in the palace, she didn't like living in the palace. She did not go with him. She would occasionally visit for a few days until she couldn't stand it anymore, and then go back and was wild in the forests. He would occasionally come out and join her in the forests. His wife was Yeshe Sogyal. His consort was Mandareva. Come to understand the difference there. And be very, very careful about marrying a lama. Don't do it. Not unless you want the wife role. It's very different from the consort role. I probably have gone astray trying to answer that question about romance. Did I manage to answer it?
Yes, thank you.
Romance is fine, it's great. You just got to recognize it for what it is. Which sometimes it's just a trick. That means it's just a sexual relationship that's really good. You got the chemistry, but you're not life partners in any direction or possibility because you want different things. Other than in bed where you want the same thing, which is why it works. Tricks are great, but you don't marry them. And then you get a lover. That's where sometimes you decide that you're going to pull a cart together. But you can't confuse those, and you can't confuse them with teacher or Dharma. They're part of the sparkly stuff of the manifestation, the sparkle of the clear light. All that's real is your own innate Buddha nature. and it's in no way different than mine. At the end of teachings where you offer a white scarf, the name of the white scarf is kata. It means primordial purity. It is your innate Buddha nature which has never been damaged by samsara. All your hang-ups can't touch it. You're offering that, the best part of you, to the teacher. The teacher receives it from you gratefully and gives it back, gives to you it, because they're signifying that that best part of you is the same as theirs, not different, which is why the white scarf is offered and returned. Symbol. You want to pass the mic behind you?
Thank you. How the idea or the concept that we have of Pure Land, such as Amitabha Pure Land, in relation to the teachings you're giving it to us?
So it's a nice holding spot. Talk about perfection. It is really perfect. Amitabha's description of the Pure Land is absolutely perfect for a Tibetan, a young monk who's lost their family, and given to the monastery at 4 or 5 years old and raised up in a pile of monks. And it's perfect for that. That's their idea of what will be perfect. And it was designed for that. There's only one gender. There's no sex. There's a net over the top, so it's very safe. You can't fall out. It's warm. It's protected. It's made of jewels and silver and gold. If I were designing a Pure Land, it would be much closer to what Guru Rinpoche put up there. Certain personality similarities there. We both have very strong personality of a 14-year-old boy, on top of whatever maturity came after. You know the story of how Guru Rinpoche got to be Guru Rinpoche at the Great Stupa in Nepal. You want that story? So once there was a chicken seller, a chicken farmer, and the chicken farmer raised chickens, and she did so well at it, she became very wealthy. And she had 3 sons. And they, of course, as their mother had before them, went in, she was a dakini, a full-fledged emanation, but manifesting as a chicken farmer. So her sons, the older one, bred horses. And the middle one bred pigs. And the younger one bred dogs, I believe it was. Can't remember which. I think the middle one was the pig breeder. The older one bred horses and race horses, and he was rather into finery. I mean, he liked to dress. So you get a character of these. The middle one is very scholarly. He's in his books all the time. Yeah, he breeds pigs because it's logical and you can get a lot of money for them. And the younger one just likes puppies. He's a kid. He's like 12, 13, 14. By the end of the story, he's 14, so he starts out even younger, raising puppies and training them. So one day, the chicken farmer has decided that she had enough money to build a stupa to do something for sentient beings, to give them a place of focus. So she went to the king and she said, please give me some land, government land, to build a stupa on. And the king's like, okay. But then because it seemed like a good idea at the time, But the advisors came to the king and said, oh, don't do that. If you let this old chicken farmer build a big stupa, you're going to look like an idiot, because look at all your wealth. She's just a chicken farmer, and look at all your wealth, and what have you done for the people? You know, not so much. So the king's like, okay, they've got a point. So she comes back to receive her land, and he says, you can have the land you can cover with a cow skin, and he gives her big cow skin. This, you know, that's a piece for a little stupa. Okay. However, she takes the cow skin and she cuts it into thin strips. It wasn't the amount you can cover with a cow skin, the amount you can encompass with the cow skin. Thin strips, and ties them together, and does it all around the periphery of this big land out by where she's been raising chickens and horses and pigs, which is out, you know, some distance over where Swayambhu is now. So you can't let her have that much land. And he's like, I have spoken. Swayambhu, in the language of the place at the time, means the king has spoken. So it's called the king has spoken stupa. So she began building it. Now, when you build a thing like that for over many years, and you put all your energies into this creation, it creates a great deal of gewa and also a focus of intensity. When it's finished and concentrated, all those who worked on it, whatever wish they make, comes to pass. One wish. So she dies before it's fully complete. But the boys complete it, and it's consecrated, and now everybody's got a wish. The elephants that worked on it, and the donkeys that worked on it, and the, you know, plasterers that worked, they've all got a wish. So there's stories about what different things wished for and how it came out, but the brothers is what I want to talk about. There were legends in Nepal that because you can see the Himalayas from Kathmandu Valley, the snow-packed peaks, and so they knew that there was a great land behind the peaks called Tibet, the land of the snows, it was called in their language. So the oldest boy made his wish, when the Dharma goes to the land of the snows, I will be a great king, and I will bring it forth to that place. And so the karma for Trison Detsen was born. And the middle son, who's always in his books, when the Dharma goes to the land of the snows, I will be a great scholar, and I will bring it forth. Bodhisattva, the scholar who brought much of the Dharma up. In the first coming. Milarepa's the second coming. It's the first coming. And there's the little kid who's now maybe about 14. When the Dharma goes to the land of the snows, I'm going to be a great sorcerer and slay all the demons and have all the girls and the princesses and everything. Guru Rinpoche. That story from Wangdo Rinpoche about how Guru Rinpoche came to pass with that particular personality that led to those particular stories. Remember, guys, stories aren't real. There will be stories of how you came to enlightenment. There are stories of how each Buddha in the past, the present, and the future has come to enlightenment. Choose your story. Live it. It's just a story. There are many lovely Mandareva stories in that book of her Namtar, of her past lives and her last life as Mandareva. How she went there. In Juniper Ridge, there's a beautiful story of Guru Rinpoche and how he went there in his youth with his teacher. how he accomplished the final piece of Zogchen. Gomme. You don't have to believe the stories to enjoy them. You don't have to believe your stories to simply enjoy them. Play. Yes, you have a question? Mike. Microphone.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you if you weren't finished.
I was.
Please. Okay. Thank you. Regarding your story about Mandavava and Yeshe Tsogyal, it feels there is some kind of dualism involved, and I would like to ask.
Stories are dualistic.
I'd like to ask you if you have any examples of women who are both wife, consort, all of it, the mother, the whore, the anything.
Read is the 84 Siddhas of India, called either Buddha's Lions for the cheaper copy, or Masters of Wisdom for the fancier, more artistic coffee table book type copy with the really good drawings. Read that. There will be stories of such. Yeshe Tsogyal was enlightened as a wife. She, in the place she was in, she was the right personality to support that place. She was very astute politically. It was her as much as Trison Detsen that brought Dharma to Tibet, especially the stronger tantras and the Dzogchen, which is mostly found in texts she's hidden. And yet she was wife as well as consort and student. However, from my experience with looking at most of the Tibetan and Western pairs with lamas, wife is a very specific role which is not the same as student or consort. It is often taken that way. You see, having babies, which is what wives do, is very intense. Growing them, birthing them, raising them does not leave a lot of time for practice. Did Yeshe Tsogyal have kids? Does anybody remember? Did she? She was a princess. She could afford help. Nannies, you know. I think you can do it with nannies. How do kids turn out? I shall have to look that up at some point. Anyway, it's about time for lunch. I will see you guys tomorrow, yes? Ye wandi nyor dudak che che sala go pashu. You all... Yes. Yes. You get to say it. Here. No, you don't need that. I'm not saying that.
Sure. Did you tell about the Sunday people who are not here for Dharma?
I did.
Okay.
So I'm just going to sit here.
Yes.
There were few who are not coming tomorrow, right? So if you would like to offer Lama, if you want to kata, then borrow. You don't have kata?
Je wordt also, je komt ook niet morgen, hè? Je kan daar gaan staan. Gewoon, don't be shy, gewoon in de rij gaan staan, gewoon.
Very nice to meet you too.
Kom maar. Je komt. You just, oh. En je kan.
Ja.
She gives you the scarf back. But just go in line, don't be shy, just een beetje, mag best een beetje.
It's one of the people think that by wishing for Bodhisattva, they will get